So, you want to learn how to fix your Mesmer hero. Well, for this demonstration, I'm going to take this Mesmer build and go out into a hard mode area and just attack some hulking stone elementals. Now, I must stress for the Mesmer in particular that the build is very much tailored to what you're fighting, so you have to really think about what you're doing before you go out and fight things. So let's go and find some hulking stone elementals. So here are some hulking stone elementals, and what I'm going to do for this demonstration is I'm going to aggro 2 or 3 of them, probably this group around here, and we're going to see exactly what Gwen does. So let's aggro 1 of them. What she's done is she's slowed it down, which is fair enough. We've aggroed 2 now, and I'm going to start fighting them. Now we'll see that she's starting to degen them, and she's now used empathy on 1 of them, but she's now dying incredibly quickly. So she didn't have any damage, she didn't have any hexes to remove, degen wasn't enough to do these guys any harm. I'm about to die, and Chaos Storm didn't even go off. She also had nothing to interrupt, so this build was a failure. What we also saw is that she ran out of energy quite quickly and had to use Glyph of Lesser Energy. So we're just going to attack these guys again just to demonstrate that one more time, because Mesmers are a lot more complicated than every other class. They're not straight damage, although they can be, usually they aren't. So she's opened up with a slow, even though we don't need anything like that, and she's also not kited and died again. So we need to fix this build too. So we now understand that Mesmers need to be tailored to be anti-melee or anti-martial weaponry or anti-caster. In this particular area we know that it's an anti-melee, so we want to be heavily invested into illusion magic. So we're going to max that out. We're going to have about 9 fast casting because she's a Mesmer, of course, and we're also going to straight away put things into inspiration magic because we know we'll need it. Right. So we're going to empty this bar of skills because all of these skills aren't very good, and we're going to look for things that will help us versus melee. Ineptitude is an incredibly powerful skill, coupled with significant clumsiness and Wandering Eye. We can also find clumsiness in the illusion magic attribute, which is right there. All of these things will protect us against melee while also doing a considerable amount of damage. Okay, so what kind of support thing should we use? Now in any situation, some kind of interrupt is always good, so we're going to add power drain to this mix. We're also going to add a self heal, just for a bit of stability, so Ether Feast. And that also, I should mention that power drain is some good energy management as well. Now if there's anything else that adds energy management, I might add that. Just wondering, in this particular instance, physical resistance might be a good idea, if I can find it down here. That might be a good idea, although generally isn't, so we're not going to add it in. Instead, going to look for something more useful. In this particular instance, Drain Enchantment would not be too useful, but I think that there's enough damaging skills in there, as well as damage mitigation from these skills, that I can afford to add in some kind of support. So now I'm going to go out there and aggro a couple more stone elementals. Over here we see the same hulking stone elementals as before, so I'm just going to do the exact same thing and aggro this one. If we get any extra adds, then too bad, we'll see what happens. Turns out we have. We see Gwen interrupting and dealing a huge amount of damage, while neither of us are taking too much in return. I'm not using any skills, this is all Gwen killing this sort of stuff, and there's 1 down already. We notice that her energy is also quite good for now. If these were using any spells, we would have also noticed that she would have interrupted, as per heroes being quite clever. I didn't actually get to see if she used Ether Feast in that particular encounter, but if she did, then good. and there were no enchantments to strip. But we now clearly see that this build worked fairly well against these. As I always say, my word isn't gospel, so this build isn't perfect, and probably never will be. I urge you to make your own builds, try things out, watch how they work, and improve on mine. And maybe even continue picking up some tips if you don't already know them. Alright, so thank you very much for watching. Go ahead and click the profession you want to be taken to that video.